And we are... And we are online! Incredible! So, first things first, checking the audio. And we are online! Incredible! Could be better. Second thing second, share the link everywhere possible. This is gonna be a cursed one. And, it's gonna be cursed. A lot. Actually. From the thumbnail itself, you can see that this is a bullshit stream. So, without further ado, time to just link it everywhere possible. Just no, just it's it's gonna be cursed so much, and I hate it. I hate it already, even though I haven't started yet. Oh boy, this is gonna suck. I hope I don't get nuked off YouTube. With the entire censorship thing coming along, this is definitely not favoring my odds of survival. But be that as it may, time to play. And we start, and for tonight we're playing 80s horror synth, dark, it's a dark synth, music made by White Bat Audio. And let's start a new game. Checking the audio again is necessary. First things first, checking the audio. First things first, checking the audio. Alright. Okay. Oh, hello there, Georgian. Okay, so, Georgian, very important question right now that I have to ask you. Can you hear the music? Can you hear the music? Can you hear the music? Ah, he's gone. Ah, splendid, he can hear it. Okay, so we have enabled Paths of History is enabled. I'm still yet to play Disorder Yugoslavia on stream, but as you can see, Georgian, so DSR is not playable. You can play any of these countries and these three countries. So what I'm going to do today is creating the 5th position. Okay, and I'm going to ban you from my Discord server if you're acting like an idiot. I'm going to put Mielke, the milkman, as a national Bolshevik. So basically, watered down Nazism with Stasi characteristics. As for Poland, we're going for national syndicalism. However, we're aiming to get Maoism by the end of the game. For Czechoslovakia, we're going with liberation theology, Christian communism. For Hungary, we're going with Trotskyism. I was debating whether to put Mammoth, capitalism, and Borbay, a new regent, but I wanted Romania to go Stalinist. That's what we're going to do. Apostle, back to socialism. And regarding the USSR, we keep it historical. I was thinking about getting Alexin involved, but I don't know how this affects the rest of these countries. We're going to be playing Bulgaria tonight. Now I was thinking about setting, and we're going with Angel Solakov, Bulgarization. Of course, as you can see, Yugoslavia, you can't pick anything from Yugoslavia, neither for Albania, which is rather weird. But regardless, let's enable all of this bullshit and start. I haven't played Bulgaria in a hot minute. It's one of if I need to, let me just increase the volume of the music. So my rating of countries that are fun to play would go from Germany, Romania, Bulgaria, and then Albania. No, these are the easy countries. Czechoslovakia, I haven't really played that much of it. Poland and Hungary are pain. My first Gorby Run game, and Gorby Run for those of you who don't know, is basically the hard mode of Ostalgie. Your money caps at 10 and agents caps at 10. You're always struggling. If you go socialist, it's hell on earth. And I tried it as Hungary, staying as Gross, which is a very hard thing to do. But the first things first. Let's trade with Syria. Let's trade with China. Let's go and establish relations with Japan. Then we start trading with India. We sell licenses to the DPRK. We support Gaddafi and support Ramiz Alia. What else? Sanction Pakistan, I guess. What else can I do? I don't know. Special services. The usual bullshit. So, as for the economy, turn this off. This is okay. Guess industry, science. Go with economic first. I should have probably not went with industry. We're not going to sign this. I want to start trading with Albania right away. We will never betray the ideals of social. Oh, right. Here it is. Trade with Albania. No, that wasn't really hard. So, this is what we're going to start off with. Not bad financially. Sorry. As Bulgaria, you can actually get a lot of money. You can get a lot of fun. Okay, hold on a second. This playlist isn't working for me. It's good on a surface. The music is so faint. Let's get Nitride, a cyberpunk synthwave mix. I think we're going with this. My voice isn't being, smothered. First things first, independent society. We forbid to publish materials about the society in the party press using our force. Yes, we need the people support. And now, the other solidarity. An expert attempt to consolidate old anti-Western leftist forces, Jaruzelski decided not only to end the persecution of Polish concrete and to return the National Communist CVAC, as well as former PUWP figures from the Polish Socialist Party like Edward Boleslav and Osupka Morawiecki to politics, but also to rehabilitate Kazimierz Mial and members of the Communist Party, the Maoists, and Yaroslav Sienkiewicz, a former moderate figure in Solidarity who went over to the side of the PUWP, was appointed Prime Minister at the same time at the suggestion of Barikowski, a decision was made that was unexpected for the world community and the entire Polish people. The PUWP refused to negotiate with the main body of Solidarity, but held a round table with the people who previously did not want to have anything to do with the communists, with Solidarity anti-Catholic, anti-Western nationalist syndicalists. Now that's a mouthful. However, in the end, the negotiations were successful. The presidency is being introduced in Poland, free parliamentary elections are being held, and progress is being made to implement the plan for the implementation of syndicalist reforms. The world community expresses bewilderment and shock at what is happening, but the Polish people are satisfied with the promises to carry out reforms. However, the most dissatisfied were Lech Walesa, who is now out of work, as well as the party functionaries who thwarted the plan to privatize state property into their hands. And that, as it may, be that as it may, the polls once again confirmed that the special Polish path of socialism laid down under Gomulka. Well, we're going to support this person as well. Going through the ranks of dissidents, workers and peasants, we were able to build and then legalize the public association of leftist nationalists, patriots and anti-Westerns, as well as Russophobe. We were given the green light in our politics in the hope that they would win over part of the opposition party population to their side. Sholakov, if you're not playing as Bulgaria, Sholakov usually ends up breaking free from the USSR. That's Maoist. Sofia's autumn. Right now in Sofia there is a large demonstration, so you can read this. Accuse the West to unleash a velvet revolution. Yeah. Fuck the West. Shuffles. And now, Sholakov takes advantage of the case and convinces the Petrograts that him is the Congress between Zhivkov and Mladenov. Heated arguments broke out in which the party members were in no hurry against the background of the weakening of socialism throughout the world and even in the USSR. Quarrels between Zhivkov and Mladenov, the majority of the party members were silent, but a newly emerged group of pro-Bulgarian views that had appeared and nominated Sholakov as the new candidate for saving Bulgaria. The party members supported in the hope of preserving and saving the regime, and had personal position. With new views on the construction of socialism following the results of the Congress, Zhivkov was sent to retirement. Mladenov was criticized and expelled from the party. Ostalgie became the general secretary, who in his speeches urged the people to rally in the face of difficulties and together build a just state. Now, if you don't play as Bulgaria, this is Sholakov, the national Congress. Now, if you don't play as Bulgaria, Sholakov usually either ends up dying from exhaustion because of the pressure from both West and East, and then Bulgaria will start developing nuclear weapons, or he will survive and basically will implement socialism inside and capitalism outside. They will build corporations to basically sell Bulgarian products to the Western markets and third world markets. They have a planned economy and no free market on the inside. And also Bulgaria will become one of the leaders of Olympics, one of the really great nations at starting in the Olympics. Ancient Bulgarian tradition. Today I think that is because Sholakov was a good swimmer. Let's look him up. Today our General Secretary, referring to the topic of history in his speech, started that in the Russo-Turkish and World War II, the Bulgarian people were liberated primarily by their own forces, while the support of the Russian Empire and the Soviet Union played a secondary role. This very contradictory statement can give impetus to the strengthening of nationalism in Bulgaria, as well as damage the reputation of our country on the international arena. But it's not too late to fix it, is it? Start promoting the ideas of Bulgarian nationalism, yeah, fuck it. Another now we're going to expel all the Turks. Sounds horrible, and it is horrible, but for the sake of the meme, just go with it. Go with it. Yeah. Not really, the teeth twist didn't happen. The Titoist model was have a socialist market on the inside, something like that, and take IMF loans, basically. But what we're going to look at that later on down the line, one day, when we play as Yugoslavia. Today, the Stalinist George Apostol, a party leader who previously actively criticized Ceausescu's policies, together with other 5 veterans of the RCP and dissidents, wrote an open letter to the current president in which he accused Ceausescu of a grave violation of human rights in Romania. Later, the letter was read on Radio Liberty and Voice of America. The party members closest to Ceausescu suggested that he should not stand on ceremony with the enemies of the people, the authors of the letter, and subject the apostle and other participations to capital punishment. However, more moderate figures whose side was taken by Ceausescu's wife, feeling of a wave of protest, persuaded Ceausescu not to touch the apostle and dissidents, but to start improving the work of the Securitate, and tightening borders so that no more letters would reach Western radio channels. And the members of the Apostles group themselves, adhering to even more leftist communist views than Ceausescu criticized by them, were seriously concerned that they turned to the imperialists for help, information about which was transferred to the Securitate personally Ceausescu, which calmed him even more. However, being at liberty after that announcement of the letter to the world, Apostle received everything necessary to secure support in the RCP and gradually began to establish confidence. For this letter. Why? Because, fuck Ceausescu. We published a communique of these letters, letter of 6 in particular, condemning poverty, excessive personality, called the separation of the party from the people, which caused extreme discontent among President Ceausescu, because of which he sharply cut any ties with us. However, under pressure from the West, he was less forced to restore them. The West, as you understand, appreciate our rhetoric. I mean, bitch, where the fuck are you going? We're the same pact. We're the same military and economic pact. Stop simping out, Ceausescu. It won't lead you anywhere. You know what I say? Holy shit, okay, no, this is not good. I need to find a way to fix this. Somehow. Vietnam, let's see. And I missed it. Not really important. Didn't really do anything good with it. Okay, then let's just speed on research. To create the worst possible world to live in. Okay, we're not going to turn Myanmar into, or Burma into communist country. We're just going to bullshit around it. Okay, here we go. I think we can trade with Japan in a bit, but I do need more agents. We're going to condemn the illegal actions of the PRC. Then we're going to establish a friendship with Taiwan. Then we're going to restore relations with the PRC. About peace in the world, and we're going to give more freedom to the people. And we're going to help Japan. We're going to start a war with Pakistan. And soon enough, we can trade with Egypt. We have Japan. Maybe it's time for reforms. Or in friendship with France. Okay, let's start. After an unusual unity of all forces of the Hungarian Socialist Workers' Party, from conservatives to Trotskyists, from moderates to nationalists, the new temporary inter-party coalition got rid of the most of the radical reformist wing and could no longer fear the lobbying of liberal reforms by the party. But the Hungarian population was not particularly happy with this turnaround. Nyers and Pozsgai had solid political weight among both the party and the people, and this did not go unnoticed. The people no longer wanted Gross at the helm, and the party people feared his power, believing that the people might come out in revolution, especially after his protector Kadar had died. So Tamas Gross, a supporter of the gradual reform of Hungarian socialism, an opponent of the free market, and a PhD in history, known for his ability to find a compromise between all the forces, was elected as leader of Hungary, which was unexpected, and once in power, Tamas Gross and his Trotskyists had already put sticks in the wheels of market reforms, leading to a contradiction between the cabinet and the new head of state, giving the effect not only of sabotaging the new reforms by the bureaucracy, but also of leading to contradictory management of the economy. A real communist would have to blood and sweat to restore the power of the Hungarian economic machine. Offer financial aid to the regime. Congratulated Kross on his election and as leader of Hungary and wished him success in rebuilding the economy, as well as sending him some money to help with the rebuilding. They thanked us, of course, they them Kross, for our help and participation, but they could hardly thank us enough. The party can now shut up for like 10 minutes. Right. Strike. Oh, hold on a second. I need an army base. You may ask, I need an army base. Well, more agents. I need more agents. Of course, I'm going to go personally to Iran, because Saddam can go and slip both. While Honecker was in the Romanian clinic, a conspiracy matured behind his back in Berlin. Erich Mielke, the milkman, was absolutely displeased with Honecker's passivity toward the enemies of the state, and convinced of the need for change because of the unstable war situation and possible destabilization at home. Because Honecker could die at any moment, and in neighboring Poland and Hungary, unrest and reforms were in full swing. Bitch, no, the Maoists are in Poland, and the Trots are in, whatever. To the Iran. Well, it is what it is. I can't change Iran. And Iran did support the party ended up supporting the would-be terrorists that became an American pawn. But I'm not going deep into that. With the support of Mittag, who had long spoken for the need of changing the country's economic position, and Hager, the longtime ideological secretary, who hoped that with Honecker's resignation, most of the popular anger would go away. Mielke began his power grab. Early the next morning at a meeting of the Politburo, it was decided to send Honecker to honorary retirement for health reasons, to appoint Comrade Mielke as the new general secretary, and to leave the former ruler himself to be treated in Romania on a state grant. Next came a reshuffle in the Central Committee, where the moderate faction of Friends was disgraced and replaced by new members who were staunch statesmen. Power has changed, and the people are terrified of state terror, which the opposition is beginning to take advantage of. Congratulations the new ruler of Germany. We were among the first to offer formal congratulations to the new Secretary General and Chairman of the State Council of the GDR, Erich Mielke, considering such a coup as a justified measure to protect the state. During the negotiations, trade relations between our countries were deepened, but not all politicians of our state were happy about it. What trade relations? We're literally in the same fucking economic pact. You do you. But first things first. For in India. See them sacrifice their life for Pakistan. But yeah, we need to build our agents and fast. Oh, I totally forgot I can do Sri Lanka. Whatever. I can pull off Ireland or something. Oh. In every way, sabotage the negotiations between the two countries. And we're trading with quite a lot of people. Oh, more power to me. Alright, come on. Okay, time for another one of these. The people love me and the party will adore me eventually. Reshuffles. Unexpectedly for everyone, Gustav Husak, who had resigned from the post of General Secretary of the CPC in 1987, announced his resignation from the post of President. After the departure of Husak, a split began to ripen in the party. The discord between reformers and conservatives reached its climax. When meetings after meetings could not decide anything, and the Ministry of Finance and the State Planning Committee began to report about the chaos in receiving and processing data due to the struggle of certain party members with each other. As a result, in order to keep power in the hands of the Communist Party, it was decided to find a compromise. Ladislav Adamets was elected president, guaranteeing the safety of the posts of all conservative leaders. In his inaugural speech, Adamek declared his commitment to the people, promised to deal with bureaucracy and bureaucrats, and also populistically declared that Czechoslovak society needs modernization and acceleration, and that he will provide it. Gustav Husak himself was approved for the symbolic post of chairman of the CPC. We will invite Husak to the party conference to increase party stability. We invited Husak to participate in our party conference to share his experience about his long tenure as ruler of Czechoslovakia, to which he happily responded. His story was interesting. Why? Until only the most important people were left of the party conference. The conference itself flowed into the nearest restaurant. After a couple of drinks, everyone recognized Husak as a good conversationalist. You go, Grandpa. You can do it. Now, let's give. I'm not going to create that much of a cursed timeline, but we're going to support the RAF. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The Greek question: we will support the ruling party in Greece because we love trade. Romania, genius departure. Is this the 14th Congress of the RCP, at which some expected at least some relaxation of the economy and political dictatorship, while others predicted the absence of any significant changes? A split occurred. For a long time, due to the unstable situation in the country, a conspiracy of left-wing radicals and moderates matured in the party, united because of the dissatisfied state of affairs in the state, so that the fate of Ceausescu, surrounded by sycophants. And for those who don't know, sycophants are basically cascaders and bootleggers who were ready to serve the one in power to save their own power. The detach from reality was a foregone conclusion. During the Congress of the RCP, a group of disgruntled party members attacked Ceausescu, accusing him of empowering the population, attempts to restore the monarchy with a successor's son, and pursuing a destructive economic policy. Many delegates supported the dissatisfied, and Ceausescu was removed from all posts and retired. And all his relatives were expelled from the party. In order to avoid a possible revenge exit from the meeting, Ceausescu was seized and was imprisoned in a psychiatric hospital in Paris. This is fucking funny. The diagnosis of Romania and pathological tendency towards unemployment. His wife soon followed him. Ceausescu's longtime opponent George Apostol became Secretary General, and Ilie Verdes, a socialist economist who had previously been disgraced for trying to pursue an independent economic policy, returned to the Prime Minister. The post of the President was replaced by a collective body of the President. The SRR President began to consist of its chairman, deputy 60 members, and a secretary. At the same time, the regime of economy for the sake of the welfare of the population was also abolished. Thus, the new regime of Apostol was trying to show itself as a regime for the workers. Increase funding, okay, so we're going to send a congratulations to the President. We send congratulations to the new ruler of Romania, chairman of the Presidium of the SRR, Socialist Revolutionary Romania, Socialist Republic of Romania, Apostol, on his election to this post, and wished him success in his undertaking and in the fight against the remnants of the Ceausescu's era. Right. We need to... Yeah, we need... some military. And I love how it's now cheaper to make what's it called? It's cheaper to build factories now than it was before. It's not worth it, Ireland. Really, you know, it's gonna be a cursed tennis. You're going to stay under neoliberals. What can I do to you? We're speedrunning research, and if I actually put my mind into it, I could have finish it in the mid 1990 at most. Before that, even. All right. Time to save Noriega. Gorbachev can go and beat his head against the wall. By Lenin's blow, this morning the news broke across the globe. The Hungarians did what nobody expected them to do. They refused to pay their foreign debt, calling it forced by imperialists. They are not burdened with any debts and develop peacefully. However, because of this action, they have been excluded from the IMF. So many countries have decided to break off economic relations with them for fear of being set up. We are also under pressure from Western diplomats and international financial elites by breaking off the economic relations with Hungary. They promise us a one-time financial tranche, and in case of refusal, they threaten us with something worse. What to do? We'll agree to blackmail. Money doesn't smell. Also refuse to pay foreign debt. Refuse that the Hungarians do what they want. Refuse to be blackmailed and cut all of our relations with Hungary, which caused us to face a barrage of criticism from all Western media, which undermined our international credibility. But our resilience set an example for other countries, and we still have our trade partners. So, all that bad. Support the military and support the RAF. Fuck you, Western powers. Yes, Ceausescu was the only socialist, between quotations, in the tight relations with the Zionist entity. And he was basically one of the links between the Zionists and Sadat in Egypt, as well as the Shah of Iran and the King of Morocco. Relic of stagnation. Todorjevko ruled Bulgaria for many years, was suspended. We continue to lose trade ties with the former socialist camp, and our economy is experiencing unprecedented difficulties. Reformist forces as in the party are proposing to launch market-oriented economic reforms. In their opinion, this will not only help us survive the economic crisis, but will also raise our prestige in the world stage. Naturally, there are several plans for reform. The first on which is the most radical reformists insist involves the transition to market economy in the shortest possible time. No, thank you. Second implies the gradual introduction of market elements in the country, artels and cooperatives. Not a bad idea. Foreign investment in the light industry as well as... No, I don't like this. As well as permission for private farms. In addition, some party members suggest the release of former underground businessman Georgy Naidenov from prison and involve him in the formation of a new economic agenda. They argue this by the fact that once the business of George fill the treasury of our country, so he will be able to raise our economy. But is it worth it to break the system that was built for years, making the transition to market economy for the economic committee which will head introduce market? Everything works fine, not need to change anything. Bulgaria remains an island of stability in the severe vortex of capitalism, and the population blames the government for living worse. Bitch, you have 74.9 standard of living. Be grateful. Be grateful. I'm going to start rolling back. Oh, you know what? Yeah, no. You know what? I'm going to start rolling back. I'm just going to start rolling back on your personal freedoms. Be careful what you wish for. Fucking idiots. And NATO wants to invade me so bad. Well, they can fucking try. Fall of the curtain. After the wave of liberalization in the socialist camp, we were invited to change the matter. What fucking liberalization? Where's the liberalization? Where's the... Romania is conservative socialism. Hungary is Trotskyist. Holland... Like, where's... I don't see it. I don't see it. If it exists, I don't see it. I'm going to send help to Yugoslavia anyway. What else do I want to do in this game? But science, not that. Battle of Special Services. Gorby, you can go and beat your head against the wall. Western threat. At the moment, our relations with the United States are deteriorating rapidly. The USA President, through his envoy, tipped us that we should be more friendly towards America. If we do not want any consequences, what should we do? That's not America. The President of the USA was furious with our disobedience and promised the President. George W. Bush. Fuck you, Bush. Fuck you. I ain't bowing, I ain't bending the knee for anybody. Sovereignty. Patriotism of nationalist users. I have 50 debt, but you can pay it. Partners. I have sanctions imposed on me. I have no idea. Let's build our spies. Oh shit. I actually need to build up more of this. Now I need more money. Fast. Socialism was reborn. In the course of the political reapproachment of the national communists of the Polish Concrete, the Maoist nationalist Mial, the leader of the Left Nationalist Association Grunwald, and the National Syndicalists of Solidarity 80, Jaruzelski was impeached. Okay, he brought them to save his ass and they impeached him. This is fucking funny. It's hilarious. At an urgent Congress, the party was completely disbanded, and on the same day, at the Unification Congress of Grunwald, the Communist Party of Poland and Solidarity 80, the formation of the Polish Workers' Party, Solidarity 80, took place. Kazimierz Mial was elected leader of the party, Jarosław was elected prime minister, and Marian was appointed president of Poland. The latter, on his very first appearance as president of Poland, sharply criticized Lech Wałęsa's personality cult and Wałęsa's usurpation of power in the trade union movement. At the same time, the old associates of Jaruzelski were arrested, in particular the Minister of Defense, Kiszak, and the Secretary of the Central Committee, Rakowski. They were charged with organizing a criminal conspiracy to prepare for the theft of national property on an especially large scale, throughout a front-end mass privatization of state-owned enterprises. The official name of the State Republic of Poland and the coat of arms with a crown were also restored. The latter was clearly a concession to the trade unionist and Jurczyk personnel, who had scores with Jaruzelski's team, in particular, those responsible for the violent suppressions of the process in the 80s. We're going to congratulate the Polish. We personally congratulated the new president of the Republic of Poland, Marian Jurczyk, on his confirmation to the post, and also initiated the establishment of party ties with the PWPS framework of cooperation between leftist organizations and of the social scam. This strengthened our ties with Poland, which desperately needs allies to oppose both East and West. Actually, with this setup, the Trotskyists, the Stalinists, and Maoists can actually join all three internationals, you know? Let me fucking first, and I'm going to be down with it. First things first, I'm going to support the Sandinistas. Cultural heritage. In preparation for the celebration of the 1300th anniversary of Bulgaria in 1977, the Cultural Heritage Foundation, headed by the daughter General Secretary, was established. Special funds provided for large-scale purchase of cultural property abroad. This operation required Mirko Spasov's indisciplinable sanction as a functionary of the Central Committee. In this regard, some party members proposed to bring Zhukov and former KGB head Mirko Sapov for organizing corruption schemes, and to expel Spasov from the party and bring him to trial. However, there is an opinion in the party about the need to put not only Spasov, but to launch However, all this is a good chance to enrich our treasury, because Spasov has accumulated a lot of money, some of which he can transfer to us in exchange for free leaving the country. I don't fuck with corrupt assholes. Oh. Fascism and socialism. At the 12th SED Congress, immediately after the opening, some of the youngest members of the party spoke unexpectedly. But more unexpectedly, they spoke in solidarity with the idea of Ernest Nikisch, and the great role of the East Germans and Prussia in shaping Germany and the culture of the German people. This was followed by statements from the Rostrum by SED General Secretary Mielke about studying the concept of National Bolshevism and National Socialism. Oh my god, no. And introducing changes in all areas of the state on the basis of their experience. You mean socialist nationalism, right? A campaign to rehabilitate the conservative revolution began in the media, and Nikisch himself was proclaimed a great teacher of the German people. His foreign supporters were actively invited to month-long events with speeches and at institutes to actively promote the new idea. National Bolshevism has taken root quite well in East Germany, although the idea of East Germans being superior to French West Germans was received with suspicion by the East German people. On the other hand, as expected, it caused a rise in right-wing sentiment in the GDR, which however is good for their government as a fighter against the liberal opposition. This world just weirder. We should also remember our past. Impressed by the success of the German experience, we also decided to find and engage national figures, our past, at least similar views to us, in order to rely on the historical succession of our power and to act on the development of the national forces of our homeland. Well, it has had a certain success, but some party members are not happy with us. They can go and die. Rehabilitation of rehabilitation. In 1965, a group of conspirators led by Ivan and to overthrow Zhivkov because the latter was pursuing a policy that was revisionist in their opinion. However, the conspiracy was uncovered by law enforcement officers. The conspirators were arrested and convicted, and Ivan himself committed suicide. After learning of the disclosure of the plot, Zhivkov is no longer in power, and in connection with this, Todorov Grunia's countrymen are demanding to rehabilitate him. Certainly go for it and rehabilitate him as a victim of Zhivkov's regime, but Ivan was an ardent Stalinist. Do you see? Let's recognize as a fucking national hero. In today's speech, our General Secretary announced the rehabilitation of the leader of the anti-Zhivkov policy. Ivan was a national hero who tried to protect the country from the Soviet mercenary propaganda. Soviet the Orthodox part of the party enthusiastically accepted our decision. All the other party members were unhappy, although they did not speak out about it openly. Dare they speak? Nothing will stop our road to progress. Have you been watching this shit? I don't know anymore. And this legacy. I'm going to build a cyber. Polarization of the USSR. We will dissolve the opposition parties. Adulthood. And now the fun begins. Now we have established soon enough we will. As you can see, this is our economic bloc. It's strong, it's resilient, and it also has humans, so that's nice. We get China sooner. Mark my words. But now we can have a shit ton of money, which means we can have a shit ton of agents. Let's go! Oh shit. Let's privatize everything. It hurt our economy too much. But money doesn't stink. The solidarity of the people. And now Germany is still haven't become Nazgul yet. It's kinda good in some regard. And we're going to nationalize this. what we do is we build up our agents. United Yemen. And we need more sovereignty. Nostalgia. I don't think we're going to end up with Pétain in France. Oh, that will be fucking hilarious. I swear it will be hilarious. Whatever. It will be hilarious. Statistics. We're going good economically. Got into science, we're almost there. Review. Patriotism. Oh, we're now back to Soviet-like patriotism, but soon enough we're going to back to 100 nationalism. State debt is going down. Sovereignty is almost 100. And once we harness the power of the nuke, it's gonna go easy for us. Soon enough. Afghanistan. We will save Afghanistan, and we just saved it. Great. Not bad, not bad. The people love me, the party loves me, and nostalgia is going down. Standard of living is struggling to go up. It's probably because of the sanctions, but hey, who knows. Soon enough, we're going to be building nuclear weapons. We're going to upgrade all farms, which is going to make money on just more money. Just improve more. Yeah. More army bases, just more army bases. Let's put a nuclear test site for the hell of it. Just more agents altogether. What's our political line? Statism, authoritarianism. You know what? I'll give some freedoms for the people, since they love me so much. And we're going to join the sanctions on Saddam. Soon enough, we will be able to up. What? I think I'm going for this entire international thing. Comes into America. The religious leaders of the Catholic Church in Czechoslovakia had for too long opposed the regime and stood on the side of the opposition. In order to eliminate this problem and to consolidate society, Czechoslovak President Adamek decided to resort to a very unusual method, for which he convened an extraordinary congress of the CPC, where he proposed to approve an amended program of the party, namely the thesis of liberation theology and Christian socialism. The new thesis of the program of the CPC for the next years were approved by all party members unanimously in an outburst of understanding of all the seriousness and complexity of the current situation in the country. After the news broke on all official TV and radio channels, crowds took to the streets cheering and rejoicing over yet another remnant of the communist era. I consider the teachings of Christ to be profoundly revolutionary and absolutely consistent with the cause of socialism. It does not even contradict Marxism-Leninism, declared Comrade Adamek himself. TV and radio news broadcast full coverage of the recent CPAC Congress, its decisions, and Adamek's speech, and this report followed us in the West, creating in their minds an image of the modern communist transformers, increasing the favors of Western for socialism and the socialist camp. Wait, so how's Ostalgie? It's rising, I don't want to say. Will provide humanitarian support for the population. Miloskovic, Slobodan can go and bang his head against because Balkan revenge. Almost 8 years have passed since Bulgaria tried to assert its dominance in the Balkans. Greece, Romania, Turkey, Serbia, and Montenegro acted as a united front in the peninsula against Bulgaria was defeated and its father's territories are divided among the winners. Attempts to take revenge dragged the country into world wars on the side of Germany, but they also failed. But now, after the death of Yugoslavia is falling apart, there is an ideal chance to take revenge and return Macedonia to power. A group of radical party members proposes to recognize the Macedonians as Bulgarians and to introduce troops to Macedonia to protect them. Although this will be an excellent step to give the people a small but victorious war, on the other hand, it is risky and costly, and maybe we should forget the enmity and offer Milosevic military assistance, having received an official permission for quartering troops in Macedonia. Truth then, we never get it. Declare the Macedonians as Bulgarians and introduce troops. In an extraordinary Congress of the DCP, our leaders stated that there is no such nation as the Macedonian. Macedonia was artificially separated from Bulgaria by Western powers. In addition, at the Congress, it has decided to send troops to Bulgaria to Macedonia to protect fellow Bulgarians living there from the horrors of the civil war, the genocide of the liberal government, and clashes with the Nazis. A slow victorious war was successful, and the people united in a single euphoric impulse of patriotism. The world community condemns us for this aggressive step, and the Soviet Union hastily phasing down aid and withdrawing specialists. Wouldn't you know it? I'm also going to... I see how it is. Oh, not a big deal. I think if the world is gonna hate on me, I think it's my time to hate on the world. It is only natural for me to do so. They will know fear. They will know to fear the power of the Bulgarian atom. Literally, if we get Iraq into this, we have the Silk Road. I still don't understand, why can't we interact with Cyprus? Refugees from the east only accept only, okay, you know what? Yeah, view. Patriotism, we are nationalists, we don't have Soviet aid. We barely have any state debt. We're just going steadily forward. And it's gonna end beautifully. Because we're going to use the peaceful atom. And this. And now we shut down all of these research centers because we do not need them anymore. We're going to build foreign intelligence departments. Just amass more and more agents. Does it fuck with our sovereignty? Not really, no. We are 94 sovereign. And if anything, we're just going to close them by the end, so no biggie. This is a very stupid. Okay. In positive emotions, we will hide the facts. And we can't do anything about it. Fifth, a great event for the entire socialist world took place today in Budapest. The Hungarian Socialist Party initiated a congress of Trotsky's parties throughout the world. The assembled parties from all corners of the globe, even from Turkey, South Africa, and the USA, decided to form a new permanent and, most importantly, unified international, the fifth international. The aim of the five is to overcome the imperialist world system, revolutionary entrism and People's Revolution, and to establish a dictatorship of the proletariat on the basis of the power of the Soviets. The Fifth International follows a war policy for all organizations pursuing similar goals. The Fifth International bases its work on the assumption that socialism in the Soviet Union was formed under Stalin and that state capitalism was established from within by the new layer of bureaucrats who came to power, and while of course the creation of such an organization with its center in Budapest does not yet indicate that Hungary has been able to take power over the world Trotskyist movement from the West, the first steps have already been taken. Yeah, I think we will cope. Perestroika. Mausoleum. More than 50 years ago, the famous Bulgarian communist Georgy Dimitrov died. With the participation of the Soviet Union, a mausoleum was erected in Sofia, where the body of the General Secretary is still lies. However, some party members believe that the corpse of the center of the capital is a relic of the soundless past and to turn it into a museum of Bulgarian communism using the living relatives of Dimitrov. They will expand the mausoleum. Today's was not only surprised the cities of Bulgaria, but also the world community. Instead of the question of Dimitrov's burial, the question was raised about the expansion of the mausoleum and its transformation into a kind of pantheon. The future outstanding figures of Bulgaria will lie. Despite protests, they managed to push through this project, and today the mausoleum began to expand. Most likely soon there will be Solokov himself. Yes, our West, that's right, and some represented clergy are protesting against such a construction of a personality cult. New Cambodia. Cambodia has a friend. Flowers. And this is the economical states of the world. What can I work with? I don't know. I'm going to support the Brezhnev. Just need the money. Just give me the money. Just need more money. Give me the money. Give me the money. Give me the money. So close, I can feel it. So okay. Okay. Hold on. Czechoslovakia. The next step in turning Czechoslovakia into a separate, little dependent on Eastern Europe island was not only to invite Chilean students and leftist activists to Czechoslovakia to speak, but also to popularize Allende's image and his reforms. The authorities reminded everyone that Christian socialism always brings progress and prosperity, while any supporters of right-wing ideas end up striving for a military coup and a far bloodier dictatorship, selling the homeland and native citizens for exploitation and used by foreign corporations. In doing so, the CPC made itself the champions of religions and national interests and national sovereignty and equated all opposition figures with Pinochet. At the same time, Stafford Beer was invited into the country, and the construction of Cybersyn 2.0 began in Prague. Not, of course, for the purpose of rapid transition of automation, but rather for populist purposes to show the achievement of socialism. Chilean language is becoming more and more popular in the country. Invites Stafford Beer to conference at our Academy of Sciences. The arrival of the scientist Stafford Beer at the conference caused a sensation in our country. In his lecture, Beer became involved in training and promoting a viable system for diagnosing a malfunction in any existing organizational system. It was based on the application of cybernetic laws to all kinds of organizations and social institutions created by human beings and interacting between them. This theory addresses issues that every individual who wants to influence the organization must learn to solve them to some extent. This theory is not limited to the action of leaders. Each member of such an organization and each person who, to a greater or lesser extent, communicates or interacts with others, is involved in resolving issues. And such thoughts added fuel to the fire of the democratic thinkers, that we were able to hope to apply some of it in practice to reduce administrative costs. Not bad. And fast catching up. In 1949, Romer founded the Socialist Imperialist Party, which quickly turned into a massive neo-Nazi organization that smeared Bond's ties to the Western Alliance. The former Nazi himself, who fought on the Eastern Front and suppressed the 1944 conspiracy in Germany, whole life sincerely advocated for an alliance between Germany and Russia against Anglo-American imperialism and Zionism. Imperial socialists could have become the third strongest party in Germany, but a newspaper campaign went against the party and Romer was imprisoned, after which he began to live abroad. But just yesterday everything changed. CDR leader Mielke did something either brilliant or crazy, and offered Otto Romer East German citizenship and even membership in the General Committee of the SPD. And Otto gladly accepted this offer and had already come to East Berlin for permanent residence. His manifesto of the German liberation movement began with state subsidy to be actively published in the GDR, and he himself began to speak on the radio and even in educational institutions with lectures. What shocked the world the most, however, was when Ernst Romer became Minister of the Interior, and there he was able to deal quite effectively with the opposition, and actively broadcast to the inhabitants that they are a great German nation, while the West Germans are mixed with the French and are no longer true Germans, except that the international community did not appreciate this, obviously, accusing the GDR of restoring fascism and violating the decisions of the Nuremberg Tribunal. Fifth position, everybody! The fifth position! We're inviting everyone to our conferences. Impressed by Romer's newfound popularity among East Germans, we invited this politician to tour our country, to speak at our academy, and he agreed. His speeches, though eccentric, were friendly to us, and sparked grand debates among students and academics. On the one hand, his appeals are good for us, but on the other hand, how could this debate not lead to something bigger? Be that as it may, Otto was pleased with the trip and promised to us to include it in his introduction. There is no point in changing course. A grandiose event for the entire socialist world took place in Bucharest today. The Romanian Communist Party initiated a congress of anti-revisionist parties all over the world. The parties gathered from all over the world, even from Turkey, South Africa, and the United States, to form a new permanent and most importantly, the largest international conference of Marxist parties and organizations, claimed to be an extension of the International Organization of the Communist Parties of the 19th and 20th centuries, including the First International and the common term Third International. The International adheres to the ideas of Karl Marx, Vladimir Lenin, and Joseph Stalin, and is built on the principles of Marxism, Leninism, and criticism of Trotskyism, Revisionism, Khrushchev in particular, and Maoism. Although, of course, the creation of such an organization centered in Bucharest does not yet mean that Romania will be able to seize influence over the world socialist movement from Albania, but the first towards this has already been taken. Yeah, it's just a meme at this point. Oh shit. Can I? No, I can't. Maybe maybe I can try to bankrupt myself. Like, is it possible so I can just bankrupt myself? You know what? I think I fucked up. There's... There is. I can turn the tide of this. Maybe. I'm not sure yet, but I think I can. Ah, fuck. I don't think I can pull it off. I think... Yeah, I think I did it. I I'm going to have to later on. Let's just pretend it's all going according. Okay, this is something. Workers' Le Penism. Alright, I think I created the worst fucking timeline ever. The surge of leftist sentiments throughout Europe again, as in the already distant 1968, swept across France, where student demonstrations against the current government took place. Socialist President François Mitterrand, according to protesters, is pursuing a neo-imperialist policy towards the former African colonies, and contrary to the election promises, is moving towards neoliberal reforms, curtailing the rights of trade unions and workers. After lengthy attempts to disperse student rallies, Mitterrand, not wanting a repeat of the bloody events of 1968, decided to dissolve parliament and hold new elections. But according to the results of the vote, Front de Gauche won only 6% of the vote, while the bloc of communists and socialists of Mitterrand took 33%. However, unexpectedly for everyone, the leader of the vote was the National Front, a Poujadist party created by Jean-Marie Le Pen. Together with the Gaullist parties, the right-wing coalition managed to gain 55% of the vote, having got a crushing defeat. In the elections, the leftist coalition actually collapsed. And because of the rumor about President Mitterrand's illness, which he had been hiding for 15 years, the question of the country's leader's further legal capacity became the main agenda. Mitterrand had to resign and announce a new presidential election, where Jean-Marie Le Pen successfully won the second round, beating his main rival, the socialist Lionel Jospin, by a few percent. At the same time, in the former French colony Algeria, the Democrats won the parliamentary elections. Fuck, I should have done that. Overtaking the Islamists and socialists from the FLN. Some see the hand of Paris here, as liberals in Algeria tend to cooperate with the former metropolitan. Okay, meet with President Le Pen. The new French president began to carry out social reforms, by raising social spending, launched a board program to support the institution of the family, increase farm subsidies, advocate to increase duties for non-European goods, return diriges, directing the economy, organized the work of the Ministry of Culture and Information in the framework of the fight against the golden calf art, and in general won support in the ranks of the working class. In foreign policy, resists globalization and immigration, distancing itself from NATO and European political organization. The leader of our country had a meeting with President Le Pen, during which important trade agreements were signed between our countries. Yep, France is now at Tory. Now, I may have fucked up. Maybe. I am intending on saving this country one way or the other. I think so far so good. Okay, so I'm going to I didn't join the Maoist one. I couldn't survive that. I wouldn't be able to survive that, unfortunately. I'm going to support Havan, trade with Thailand, and we're going to overthrow Saddam. We have influenced the UK. We sold them nuclear technologies, and I think it's time about now to start nationalizing our economy again. I think I can survive. I think I can survive the people's discontent. I lost. I lost trade with Libya. But hey, I got Iraq into the Union, so as you can see, and hold on. Am I in a military? Oh yeah, no, yet, not yet. I'm not yet. I have yet my own military alliance. I will soon enough. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to do everything we want. But at least we'll nationalize the rest of our economy. More money. Let's see actually, what's our sovereignty? 100%. Okay, state debt, almost paid entirely. Can't work with Algeria, can't work with Libya. There should be a way to restart trade with them. Same with these guys. But so far, it seems, and I lost trade with them. I'm going to help the RAF as well, fuck it. People don't have, okay, this is right. Start rolling back on capitalism. Arm turn. Need to enter an alliance with these guys. But now we can have a union and trade with Japan. Okay, so this is our economic bloc. Not bad, not bad. Our own economic bloc. And we have nuclear weapons. Not bad at all. However, I do want to get Czechoslovakia in. Well, win some, you lose some. August. You know what? I will try to do something crazy. Czechoslovakia broke free from our little party. No matter. It's time to be nicer. To get them back into the Union at least. Let's start a detente. Because we're going to have to return to something. We have to return to a planned economy. Going also to the towns. I don't think we need agents anymore. I will try my best to work with these guys, but no real guarantees. We could have had the Silk Road and everything, but no. Whatever. Oh. Time for more detents. I'm going to leave the USSR for its whatever fate test this is. Back to Atlantic column we go. Okay, so let's try to get our diplomatic reputation down as fast as possible. Okay, not good, not good. Come on. Okay, let's try. I just want Czechoslovakia. Back with us. I think I can pull this off. I don't know what the hell well, at least salmon can be invested. Don't do this to me. Do this to me, come on. Come on, come on, come on. Stop it. Come on, please, please. Oh, fuck! How do you decrease I don't know. Czechoslovakia, you were going to be the shining example of democracy in this world. Unfortunately, is what we call their government to be. Well, it is what it is, I guess. So before we end, here's how it is. By government, by military, and by economy. This is our political screen. This is the science. This is the economy. This is the trade. We have barely any state debt that can be paid quickly. We have closed borders. We have no aid. We are nationalists. We are 100% sovereign. The world is 33% nostalgic. Administrative expenses 5, minimum size 4, special influence, and the standard of living is at an 81. So, let's end this. View this world that we had created. Critical steps. After the fall of the socialist camp, you feeling for your own power, having enlisted the support of the intelligence agents and began. But yeah, basically, Bulgaria. Automated communism, welfare of the people, Soviet Union, Zyuganov is the president, nukes, all of this, Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, Slobodan survived, Federal Republic of Germany, new stage of detente, Greece is with us, the civil war is over in Afghanistan, the Algeria became liberal. We didn't really have all these guys, such as the Republic of Yemen. We have a very large economic alliance, but a very medium military agreement. Special result. While the civil war was in full swing in Yugoslavia, we successfully introduced troops to Macedonia, where they organized their own referendum and created the autonomous region of Vardar after the name of the former times of the kingdom of the Vardar Banovina. And the existence of the Macedonians themselves was refuted. Separated by the Western imperialists, the Bulgarians who had previously lived in Macedonia recognized in the very referendum in 76% of voices themselves to be Bulgarian and desired Bulgarian citizenship. The president of Croatia, Tudman, and then the president of Serbia, Milosevic, recognized our sovereignty over Macedonia, and our allies also followed. Although most of the world does not recognize our new territories, but we are established there. I hope that now, once and for all. After the great Solakov died, his body was laid in the mausoleum, where he is at peace with Dimitrov and now became part of the school program visiting the memorable places of Bulgarian history. The GDR. America's decisive actions in establishing National Bolshevism allowed on the one hand to give the people a new idea and distract them from the Soviet deeds, but on the other hand it resulted in an increased suppression of the citizens thanks to the old NSDAP methods. National German socialism established total control of the economy and social life of the citizens, subjecting them all to the state. However, after Mirko's death, a kind of thaw began in the country. In order to preserve stability in the country, the new leadership decided to transform the counterculture, and now German National Socialism stands at the forefront of art, culture, and life of postmodern and metamodernism, transhumanism, and posthumanism, inspiring and guiding the minds of young neo-communists of the 21st century. And after the Mao syndicalist coalition stabilized, the time began to gradually turn in favor of the former. State intervention, price regulation, and the consolidation of small syndicates in favor of large state-owned enterprises began to intensify. This led to a clash with the syndicalist wing, which was eventually marginalized. Then the Polish government accused both the Soviet Union and the People's Republic of China of social imperialism, and left both the MEA and the Warsaw Pact. Bitch, you're in my pact! Going into isolation and retaining broad ties only with the most orthodox socialist countries and this national liberation movement. Czechoslovakia. The theory of liberation theology allowed the Communist Party to stay afloat, and although due to the loss of allies, the Czechoslovak regime had to switch to the liberal model of democracy, and the right-wing and centrist parties have entered the parliament, succeeding in dismantling the planned economy. But the Communist Party, with its new ideology, is still a weight force in the Czechoslovak arena, on the one hand preventing separatist tendencies, and on the other hand defending the social and cooperative model of economy and neutrality in foreign policy. Well, I mean, I tried. Czechoslovakia could have been the, voice of reason in this fucked up world I had created, but whatever. Hungary. Despite the open Trotskyist orientation of the new Hungarian regime, Hungary maintained its course of establishing close relations with the CMEA countries in opposition to American and Western European imperialism. The CMEA countries were recognized as the countries of the deformed worker state, the lesser evil, and treaty parties in contrast to the aggressive Western neighbors, relations with whom which finally deteriorated after Hungary withdrew from the IMF and refused to pay its huge debts. In domestic policies, the Cross regime focused on abolishing the party system, increasing the role of the councils and local government, and creating a planned economy formed by councils and workers' representatives every 5 years rather than by bureaucratic bodies. Despite this new approach for Hungarian socialism, the new Trotskyist regime may be short-lived. It still has many enemies among the lurking right and the liberal-minded population. However, Kroos is not discouraged and hopes that Trotskyism will soon spread throughout the CMA countries. I heavily doubt that. Romania. By combining the fight against the cult of Ceausescu's personality, the repeal of his most obvious laws, the restoration of Hungarian autonomy, and the abandonment of austerity with the repression of dissidents, dissenters, social and political repression, Apostle was able to consolidate his power and maintain the trust of the people, avoiding major unrest. Soon abandoning the grandiose projects of the Ceausescu, the new government, with the support of the Soviet Union, began steps to abandon the export needle and modernize industry, a period which was soon referred to as Romania's second industrialization. The economy is growing and the people can once again eat and enjoy water and light in peace, while Apostle guides the country into the future with a steady hand. If we had actually also joined the Maoist International, could have had another special ending, but it is what it is. So everybody, this was Ostalgie, the paths of history, uh, the paths of history DLC. You know, maybe you can call authoritarianism and create a scientific-oriented market dictatorship. Honecker can go for automation, and will go, reach for space, cleanse, establish the 1948 system again. Poland can have faster than solidarity. Husa can create a new nation. Struga can make a confederation, or attempt to at least. Nemeth threat capitalism, Borbay new regent invades Romania. Apostol, Ceausescu dynasty, Verdet, civil war, which Iliescu can take power. Or a three-way this position inside Romania will happen between Apostol, the communists, the remnants of the Ceausescu regime, nationalists, and the Stalinists. And you can create Yugoslavia, big Yugoslavia as Bulgaria. You can go for monarcho-socialism as Mladenov. And Solakov, we just did this. And Dilov can go for capitalism and socialism. For the USSR, you have Yakovlev, Vorotnikov, and the incident in 1990, which is Viktor Aleksin takes power in the USSR. Now, Vorotnikov, as you can see, without this, every other country except Germany can have Vorotnikov intervene in it, and it stabilizes the Eastern Bloc. Well, as you can see, we had created a very cursed path, and I did not expect Le Pen take power in France, but it is what it is, The world has seriously become a darker place. But hey, that was a good way to showcase the most cursed paths you can take. And actually, no. There are more cursed. Romania isn't that bad. Actually, Ceausescu has a bad one, or maybe even Iliescu winning the civil war. Over here, the more cursed path is monarcho-socialism. In the USSR, Yakovlev is the most cursed path because it makes the game worse. And even Russia itself centralized the USSR to the point, after its collapse, there's a billion other fucking republics that will emerge out of it. The most cursed path for Czechoslovakia is this one, because you have a civil war between the Czechs and the Slovaks. I'd say it's either Borbay or Nemeth for Hungary. Borbay will invade Romania and basically claim a kingdom. You become a regent without a king. Nemeth will establish red capitalism. And either way, Nemeth will win and create a cyberpunk society. That's how I see it. Well, in the GDR, no, this was the most cursed path imaginable. As for Poland, I don't know. I think either faster than solidarity or Mial actually taking power and becoming a national syndicalist might be more cursed, but whatever works. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure streaming for you guys, and it is time for me to end the stream. My back hurts and it's very cold tonight, very cold. I think it's stormy outside to a certain extent. And YouTube is acting up right now, more like Google is acting up. But be that as it may, have a good night everyone. And stream. So cold.